Hey, welcome to the Willie Mooch channel. I'm your host, the bad brains of the business, the Phil Baroni of comic books, the best in the business with the lowest budget. Yes, One Piece, chapter 1095, unsolicited thoughts. Here they are. All right, on the lower level, the ground of Punk Island, we have the Marines running helter-skelter, afraid of the skadoosh ability of this Jay Garcia. Right, so Jay Garcia and his head popping abilities have everyone terrified, and one of the Marines mentions that they had only seen him prior to this in portraits. So very akin to presidents, these elder stars. Yes, Jay Garcia is still the focal point of this battle, so some other Marines see this as an opportunity to attack the Straw Hats, and they try to do this, but Garcia is offended by this. An elder star supported by Marines on the battlefield? This is crazy. They couldn't even do the job to begin with, or else he wouldn't be here in the first place, right? So he's offended by this. And Bonnie, having stabbed Garcia in the previous chapter, is now in his grasp because he has been wringing and just grinding her bones. So he mentions that he's not even capable of being attacked unless he's just nonchalant towards the attack, and that's been his attitude so far. He doesn't care that Bunny's attacked him. Sanji, at this point, jumps into action to try to save this woman in distress and is blocked by some sort of force field. So Jay Garcia now has this ability that we don't know if it's hockey or if it's a devil fruit ability, but it has stopped Sanji directly in his tracks, blasted him back to be exact. Yes. So Jay Garcia removes the sword from his body and the wound begins to heal. So now we know that not only does he have the force field ability, but he also has the super healing factor ability. This seems very akin to zone fruit users if I had to guess or assume what kind of fruit user a Jay Garcia might be. All right, so New Neck or Vice Admiral Longneck, the new Longneck Vice Admiral we just met recently, is out there, and he points out that the Straw Hats have nowhere to run, absolutely nowhere to go. Kizaru is still damaged from having received Luffy's Hoshi no Ju, his white star gun to the dome, and Luffy is out as well, but not as a result of having been struck by Kizaru. He is out unconscious because he is exhausted. And then Garcia commends Kizaru for his efforts as he was facing the Nika Nika no Mi. So essentially what Garcia knows about this fruit is something far beyond what we know, you know? So I'm very curious to know what each aspect of this One Piece world knows about the fruit. What do the government know? What do the world nobles know? And then what do the elders know? And how much of this information is divulged to each faction of the government and the society that allows it to keep running the way it does? Because if everyone knew that they were governed by these creatures, essentially, or an emu, then I don't think the world would just be okay with that. There may be uprisings, right? So who knows what and how much of that do they know is what I'm curious to know. Carrying on. So at this point, Jay Garcia moves his leg to essentially impale Luffy, but just in the nick of time, a strong right from Frankie comes blasting Luffy out of the way. And it's crazy because this punch just smashes into him. And then Frankie follows up with a second strong right, grabbing Luffy in his grasp to get him away from Garcia. Garcia mentions that, wow, the Straw Hats are powerful group. And Frankie chuckles about this because he's just excited that the elders even know who the Straw Hats are. This is this is good news for the Straw Hats. Surrounded by the Marines and on the brink of defeat, the Straw Hats have nowhere to escape. Yes, Garcia taunts them, mentioning that he doesn't know who would be best to kill first. Should he kill the Straw Hats first? Should he kill Bonnie first? Or should he kill Vegapunk, having been betrayed by Vegapunk, right? He also thanks Vegapunk for his service and still mentions that he's going to kill him because he has not changed his mind about that, but he is appreciative still. Did I mention that Bonnie is still in the grasp of Jay Garcia, getting her bones grinded to dust, essentially? Yes, he is very brutal in torturing her, and this force field around him is stopping all the Straw Hats from advancing. At this point, Bonnie yells at Garcia, "You killed my father," and oh boy, does a backstory ensue. So, Bartholomew Kuma, revolutionary, warlord of the sea, king of the Sorbet Kingdom, was once a wee boy and a wee slave. Yes, not any slave, a buccaneer. So far, he's massive, and his father before him is also massive. I don't know what any of this means, this buccaneer status. Does it mean that they are giants or descendants of giants or Oni or whatever, etc., etc.? Carrying on, I believe the nobles execute baby Kuma's mother, and his distraught father tells him this story that this tells him this story about the Nika user, and that the Nika user, the warrior of liberation, will one day free him from captivity as a slave. And just then, pow, bam, his father is iced by a world noble. Yes, very horrific flashback for Bartholomew Kuma, and essentially what made him into this icon of a man. So years later, in a sort of style akin to the 2020 film The Hunt, slaves are being hunted by the world nobles, and Kuma escapes as a child and runs into none other than the top Okama, Ivankov Emporio, along with another slave. That concludes the chapter. Thank you for watching the video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Willie Mooch.